Hello, everybody. My name is Cynthia Gallardo, your favorite legacy lady. Thank you so much for being a part of today's event, Trademark 101, or Protect Your Legacy. Thank you once again for joining. Today is the beginning of the next day of your life because you are working right to protect your legacy. I previously spoke at a fantastic event called the Seven Figure Boss Summit, and it was hosted by my wonderful friend, Adrienne Velasquez, and she did a fantastic job. At the event, I talked about the word perspective, about the way we look at things, but also your defining moment. And today is your defining moment. The decision you make today determines the rest of your life as far as protecting your legacy. So let's talk a little bit more about that, what that means, and what we can do to make sure you do protect your legacy. So once again, I just want to share what my personal mission statement as a person and also as an entrepreneur is. I want to make sure that you're able to launch, build, and protect your legacy. So once again, a formal introduction. My name is Cynthia Gallardo, your favorite legacy lady, and I act as a catalyst to empower women, entrepreneurs, and business owners who are struggling to transform a business idea to a vision, to a reality, to a profitable business by discovering their unique business DNA to launch, build, and protect their legacy. And in this case, to launch, build, and protect your legacy. And we'll specifically focus on the protect your legacy aspect with trademarking your logo, your tagline slogan, and also your name. So let's go ahead and get started here. So just some housekeeping tips. We want to make sure we have fun. I already introduced myself, and I want to make sure you have fun as we go through this process. That is so important. I learned so much from my 5-year-old son, who regardless of what he does in life, he's always having fun and he's learning while he's doing it. And that's what we want to do as lifelong learners as well. And also take notes. I know I'm a copious note taker. I'm constantly taking notes to be able to write it down, keep it top of mind, and then also be able to refer back to it if needed. And also shut off all distractions at this time. You want to make sure today is about you, making sure you are protecting your legacy. So let's go ahead and get started, everybody. Legacy launchers, as I like to say. What we'll do also is just kind of address some feelings that we may have gone through. I know I personally have. If you struggled with not knowing if you even need a trademark, what is a trademark? You're going to discover what having a trademark means for you and how you can protect your legacy. And if you've ever wondered about even how to get started with the trademark process, then this is for you. And if you've ever been afraid to start the trademark process because you lack confidence and fear that you don't even have the necessary skill set, then this is for you. And if you know that you want to protect your legacy, but time stops you, as it does many of us, then this is for you. So I can guarantee you, you are in the right place at the right time. And I thank you so much for being here with me today. So let's go ahead and just talk a little bit about how we would feel if you could confidently protect your legacy, have a clear understanding of what having a trademark is and what it means for your business, and having a checklist, that's right, a checklist of required information for a trademark application. Well, I'm excited to say that you will be able to be more confident after this discussion and also understand what a trademark is and what it means for your business. And I will provide you with a checklist as well to be able to know what steps or what is needed within your trademark application. So why do I do this? I always talk about this kind of like your home, building a home is like building a business or vice versa, right? Building a business is like building a home. You have to have a strong foundation. I always think of the story about the three little pigs, each made their home with different ingredients, I guess you could say, or supplies or products. Well, you want to make sure that you initially start out building your house as a foundation so that big bad wolf out there, right? People trying to use what you've created, so they're not able to utilize that or do that. So you want to have that foundation built. And I always consider, like, if you think of an alarm in a home, most of us have alarms at our home or even in an apartment complex or even hotels, right? Wherever we go, there's always an alarm to be able to protect that particular building or structure. The same thing with your business. You want to make sure that you have your alarms in place. And those alarms, I always compare them to like insurance for your business, the right business formation, making sure those are set up so that you can protect yourself, and they set off alarms when needed to protect your business. And I don't go too much in detail with that, but those are things that I can talk about or talk to further during a one-on-one session if you're interested as well. But now we get to the part we're talking about today, the camera. So if you think of a home, a structure with a camera, so you could be anywhere in the world. Like this, as I mentioned this weekend, I recently went to the state of Texas to do a speaking event at the Seven Figure Boss Summit, and I was able to basically see what was going on because with the camera in your home, you're able to basically keep in mind or keep the security in whatever you're trying to protect. The same thing applies with the trademark. It's like having a camera in your business. So that trademark protects you federally with all the 50 states so that you're able to see what's going on. You're able to basically have that legal right to be able to protect your business when you have that trademark. And I'll talk a little bit more about what that means for you as far as protection goes. So I do want to be very transparent here with you. A lot of this information, in fact, this particular chart came from the uspto.gov site. So I have it up there on the presentation, uspto.gov. The USPTO has so much information out there. There are videos that you can go through. They have tutorials. It is an excellent source of information. So I'll be 100% clear and honest here. You can actually submit your own application for a trademark. You can do it. Anybody can do it. Go in and submit the information. Now, I do want to tell you this. It does take time. You want to make sure you're doing it correctly. Make sure, because if you don't do it correctly the first time, going back and erase it, you can't really erase. You have to fix it by submitting a new application. So the original application you submitted wouldn't be valid. So it'd be basically throwing more money out there when you could have finished it or done it correctly the first time. But in this particular chart, I love it because it puts everything together: the trademark, the copyright, and the patent that's part of that intellectual property. Today, we'll be focusing on the trademark piece. So we can say the definition of a trademark is a word, phrase, design, or a combination of those things that identifies your goods or services, distinguishes them from the goods or services of others, and indicates the source of your goods or services. So it's pretty interesting where, in a nutshell, what that means is a trademark is something that protects your logo, your name, or your tagline slogan. And it also can protect some colors, shapes, etc., which we'll go into as well. But the basics would be name, tagline, slogan, and your logo. So what's an example? So all of us know about Coca-Cola out there, right? And you see the Coca-Cola with the R in the circle. That means it's been registered with the USPTO office, which I apologize, I didn't go into what USPTO means. It means the United States Patent and Trademark Office, and then .gov. So that's how you know if there's some type of scam going on. If there's no .gov, then it's definitely not coming from the USPTO itself. There's a lot of sites out there that try to use USPTO, something similar to that .com, but that is not the actual government site. So I just wanted to point that out as well. And what are the benefits of federal protection? So a trademark protects you from being registered by others without permission and helps you prevent others from using a trademark that is similar to yours with related goods or services. So it's basically a protection, making sure it's something that doesn't confuse the clients out there or potential clients. And I want to point this out. It's within your related goods or services. So I always give the example like, well, obviously we know McDonald's is a big name out there, but and they have trademark applications for different industries or classes, and they would be protected in those particular areas. But let's say a mom and pop store comes up and they decide to name themselves as Sally Sue Burgers, and Sally Sue Burgers sets up a application within we'll say within a field that addresses restaurants, right? Or fast food industry or whatever the case may be. So somebody else could go out and open up that same name in a complete different field or industry, such as, let's say, education. Then somebody could go with that. So it's specific to the specific goods and services that you're providing. So I just want to make sure we were clear on that. Then I want you to know, in the know, what is a trademark and why apply for a trademark? So we already talked about what that trademark is, and we talked a little bit about what the why, protecting your legacy, and I'm very big on that. You worked so hard to really build up your business, right? To launch, build it. And now it's a phase where you need to protect that business and making sure everything started at some point. We think of Apple, it started somewhere. We think of Exxon, the mobile or the gas company, petroleum. It started somewhere. Everything starts at some point. So you want to make sure you protect yourself from the beginning, because I have high hopes and dreams for you. I know you will continue to excel. So you want to make sure that process is protected as you move forward. Then we get into some common misconceptions about trademark. So a lot of people think that a trademark means you can legally own and protect a word or phrase and can prevent others from using it. And however, you don't have the right to the word or phrase in general, only to that word or phrase, how it's used in specific goods or services. So I'm going to give you an example here. And I love this example that comes from the USPTO.gov site. Let's say you want to use a logo as a trademark for your small woodworking business to identify and distinguish your goods or services from others in the woodworking industry or field. This does not mean that you can stop others from using a similar logo for non-woodworking related goods or services. So that's really important. I mentioned it earlier, but I want to stress it again here. And the reason I stress it is because every single class requires a specific application. So applications are important because, of course, with these application comes a fee. So I just want to try to point that out. And another common misconception, I can't even say it, is believing that choosing a trademark merely describes your goods or service is an effective one, and that is not true at all. You want to be creative and unique with your trademarks, and they are definitely more effective and easier to protect. And I'll give you some examples about that. So there are 5 key steps to the trademark process. I know I'm a big picture person, and then I can go into the details. And that's what I want to give you, the big picture, and then we'll talk about the details. So first, you always want to make sure you name your business, your product and or service. Then you identify the trademarks that you can and should protect. And you can do that on your own, or you can seek out legal counsel, whichever you prefer. But keep in mind, you can always trademark a logo, a name, and a tagline or slogan. Those are the key generalized ones. And then also conduct a search to determine that your proposed trademark or trademarks are available for use and registration in the United States, and execute the trademark application process with the USPTO, and maintain and enforce your rights as a trademark owner. So each of those steps it's the big picture, right? As far as when you think about your trademark, and I'll go into a little bit deeper within each one as we go through the presentation. So now I want you to identify, I want to help you identify what you can and should protect. A lot of people get confused. Where do I even start? And this is what I always tell them. It really depends on the unique circumstances of your business, where you are in your strategy plan, your business plan. But that is something definitely I could sit down and go specifically through your needs as a business. But your business name, you want to always choose a unique name that sets you apart. So that's mostly where most people start, right? With their business name, because that pretty much is the projection of who you are. And then some examples of what you can trademark are business name, product name, service name, course name, blog name, podcast name, slogan, your slogan tagline, and your logo. So some strong versus weak trademarks. So strong trademarks are what we call fanciful and arbitrary, and then a notch down suggestive, and weak ones are generic and descriptive. And I'm going to go through some examples of those with you. So some descriptive trademarks, which as I mentioned are the weaker ones, are the ones where it kind of gives you just a description of what's going on, right? So like, let's say creamy yogurt, apple pie for some potpourri, or bed and breakfast registry for a lodging reservation. Well, that's too generic, right? It kind of describes some aspect of the business, but it's not creative enough, or it's not unique enough. And then you get to the generic trademarks, which would be like basically a word describing what the business is, like bicycle for bicycle shop, or bagel shop for a bagel shop. Those are not strong trademarks and should not be sent in as part of the application process. You want to get to the stronger ones, which we'll address here. Oh, I apologize. We'll address in a later slide, but I'll give you an example of a fanciful and arbitrary one. So one of those, an example of that would be like Exxon, which Exxon really isn't a name. It did not become something that we knew about with gas or petroleum until Exxon started using it. So that would definitely be a very strong trademark name to utilize. So now we get to the knock part, right? So this is an important part, because remember how I told you building your business is like building home, you always want to make sure you know what your resources are when you're building. So this is a great resource to utilize. If you go to uspto.gov, as I mentioned, there is a trademark search that you can do, and it's in a system called the TESS, Trademark Electronic Search System. You can basically put anything in there that you want to see if others have trademarked, or if it's even possibility to do so in a particular class or industry that you like to trademark. And then you can use other tools as well that are free. TESS is free. The TESS is free at uspto.gov, but you can also go to your Secretary of State, identify anybody in your particular state that has been using the name, or if that name's available. Social media is a great one. The internet, Amazon, domain names, all those things are able to help you see if somebody is utilizing the particular name that you're interested in trademarking. Name, logo, or tagline and slogan. Then you want to prepare the application. So that would be step 2. Prepare separate trademark application for each name, tagline, or logo. Determine if filing for a word mark or design mark. So some example standard characters are what we call word mark and block letters, or also special forms, stylized and or design mark. And we'll go into a little bit of that here. I'm going to give you some examples. So some standard examples would be Coca-Cola, Under Armour, Twitter. It's finger licking good, which is a tagline slogan, as we know, for Kentucky Fried Chicken. Just do it. And then also America runs on Dunkin', which is so true. I wish I had one now. But all those are standard examples. Now we go into what we call a specialized example. These are special form trademarks include trademarks that are stylized, right? They have designs or are in color. And with trademarks that use a special form format, the stylization and design is an important part of the trademark. So if you think of McDonald's, the golden arches, I mean, who doesn't know what that means, right? Then you think of Nike with the swoosh. The swoosh sound, that's been trademarked by Nike as well. But if you notice with each of these, once the application is registered and officially accepted at the uspto.gov, you can change the TM and whatever you have from a logo, tagline, name perspective, you can change it to the R with the circle. And of course, when you see that, it brings credibility to your business. And that's what we all want, credibility to our business, to our reputation. So as I mentioned, a part of the preparing the application step, you want to make sure that there are 2 ways to file the application. First one is based on current use under what we call section 1A, and then intent to use under 1B. So if you're already using it, have been using it, and you have proof of that, then that's not a problem. You would definitely want to use current use. Now, a lot of times people use intent to use if they have this fantastic idea. They've put their logo on paper. They know this is exactly what they're running with, what they will be utilizing, let's say within the next quarter, next year. They want to save it, protect it. Then that's where intent to use comes into play. Now, if it's something you've been using, I always tell my clients, make sure you might as well use the current use, and you can keep using that particular trade item that you're looking to trademark. So once again, the 2 key pieces, current use and intent to use. Those are the 2 parts of the application process that you want to consider. Then as we go back, I want to just go now through the 5 steps for the USPTO registration process, okay? So once you file your application, so remember those other steps I had spoken to you about getting to this point, now you file the application. Now the USPTO examines the mark, is what we call it. The office, they send out what we call office actions if there's a need to update something, change something, or if there's a question, or even just a refusal that particular proposed trademark is one that will not be accepted. You have 6 months to respond. If you do not respond, then you'll be considered what we call abandoned, and you'll basically have to start from ground zero if you want to reinforce that. Then once you the trademark examines, the USPTO examines the mark, you have your office actions out there, you've responded within the time period. USPTO publishes the mark in what they call the official gazette for a 30-day opposition period. And this is basically a gazette, a magazine where all these proposed logos are out there. Individuals can search through it, and they have 30 days to oppose it. If there's no opposition, then the USPTO will issue what we call a notice of allowance. And then the USPTO register and you can, yes, what I like to say, celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. You can success and change with your certificate, change TMs to an R with the circle. How exciting. That is what we're all looking to do with our businesses to be able to protect your legacy. Then we get to what do I need? So we talked a lot about what you need to do. Now, what do I need, right, to get through this process? So you'll definitely, if you're doing what we call a current use, there are 7 key pieces that you'll need, or elements as I like to call them: the trademark, applicant, owner name. And I always recommend put this in your business name, not your personal name. So you want to protect yourself personally and also leave all liability with your business, put it into your business name. Then you put your mailing address here, and email address for correspondence. You've for special form filing, you want to make sure that you have a JPEG image submitted of the stylized or design mark, and then a written description of the mark. Description, it does have to be pretty detailed, and those are things that I would work with you to make sure we had correctly. And then also a description of the goods and services currently offered, the date of first use of the mark anywhere, and the date of first use of the mark in interstate commerce in connection with the applied goods or services. Many times those two dates are the same, first use and the date of first use of mark in the interstate commerce. Sometimes they may not be. So you may have used it locally in your city, your town, your parish, your county, the state, but it didn't go out to another state, or what we consider interstate commerce, as something you offered or sold until a later date. So that's something I'd be able to sit down with you as well and determine the specific dates. And then you also want to provide evidence showing the use of the mark in connection with the applied or services. So in other words, that's what we call a specimen of use, and we'd submit proof of that. It could be something on the website. It could be something if you're selling t-shirts or some type of product where your logo is being used on your t-shirt. So we would work through the specifics to make sure we sent in what was required. And then you would submit your USPTO filing fees. So the fee, this is a key piece here. The fee is application per class. As I mentioned, each class, separate application, separate fee. And the fee can range from between $250 per application to $350. So what do you need if you're intent to use? So there's 5 steps, very similar to the in use already. The only difference is that you do not have to submit, of course, the specimen, what we call the specimen, or the product or service being utilized. So that's something you would not have to submit at this point, because you haven't started using it. So you have the first 5 steps as you did before in the in use application. You have the first 5 steps here with your intent to use, and of course the 5th one being the application amount per class. So now you've filed the application online, and you can do that through the what we call the TEAS, or not. It's not that you can. You should do it through the online process called the TEAS online filing system, and this is where you submit your initial application. So TEAS Plus is basically if you find a goods or services already in the trademark ID manual, that once again is at the USPTO.gov, and it accurately describes your goods or service, the fee would then only be $250. So it'd be a lot less. And then if you use the standard TEAS, we have to submit the specifics of your goods or services. It's not something that's already in the trademark ID manual, then that would be $350 at that point. So once again, I just want to give you that high level 5-step process with the USPTO registration. It's very important. I know, like I said, I'm a visual learner. I like to see the big picture. So this is the 5-step process laid out. And of course, my favorite one, or the most important to me personally, is the USPTO registers a trademark number 5, and we can celebrate. And I can guarantee you, we will have some type of party, whether it be a virtual party. We are going to celebrate your success. Now I want to share a success story with you. So there's a particular gentleman that came to me. He had started the process already on his own to protect his legacy. In this particular case, it was a logo. He submitted the application on his own. He received a statement of use, a request, which I can guarantee you most likely you will, because everybody receives one, because normally it's kind of like almost like a filter to make sure that you're serious about this, you're going to continue the process. So he received a statement of use request, and he just didn't feel confident, right? He didn't know how to respond or how to do it correctly within the time period. So it was just a lot of feeling of overwhelm. So I provided him with the tools and resources to complete it, and success story. he confidently protected his legacy. And that's what I'm all about, making sure that you can confidently protect your legacy. Remember what I talked about earlier? My passion is to make sure that entrepreneurs can launch, build, and protect their legacy. And fortunately, you have the benefit of working with me as an attorney. I'm able to work through that application process as well. So I hope you've learned something today. I know I have, I always do. But if you could please write down on that notebook that you're taking notes, the top 3 pointers that you've learned today. And just to share a little bit of what I've taken back and, with our interaction here is knowing that you can do it. It's something, it's a process. Just trust the process. Make sure you go through each step that I laid out and you can do it. And just knowing that there's strategy, structure, support, synergy available to you so that you can move on that fast track to protect your legacy. Because I know so many people that they put it on their list of things to do and it gets put to the back burner. Why? Because it can be overwhelming. It really, really can. So don't let that happen to you. Make sure you put it in action based on whatever your specific needs are at this time with your business. So I want to ask you a question. How many of you know that you are going to need some type of help with this journey? So it would be a do it yourself versus some type of guidance or GPS. And I know me personally, there's certain things that, I may have some general understanding about, but I need somebody with more expertise that has been there and done that to assist me. And that's what I did with when we first started, my husband and I first started what we call our commercial cleaning business way back when. We surrounded ourselves with people who had already been there and done that and provided a process or a structure for us to follow. And we were able to become more successful at a quicker pace than someone who had tried to do it on their own. And that's where that synergy comes in that I love. That's one of my favorite words. So now you have 3 choices. And I appreciate you sticking through this whole process with me here. So we're at a fork in our road, or what I like to call that defining moment, right? You can do nothing and continue to struggle by not having anything sorted out. It just stays on your list of things to do list, or you can get started and do it yourself, as I mentioned, or you can fast track your journey by starting today and allowing me to be your guide. That's right. You wouldn't have to do a thing. You let me take the wheel from here, right? So you can think of a GPS in several ways. You put the address in, your destination. You can either put it on silent. You could try to take that path yourself, or you can put where, the voice is on there. And I would say the GPS is starting to talk to you, let you know, go right, go left, which way you go. Or you can actually just get the driver, have somebody drive you to where you're going. And those are the options you would have here. I'd love to be able to be that driver for you, just as I have with other clients, so that you don't even have to think about this, right? You can actually work to delegate something that you have to do, but you don't have the time to do it. So what's the next step here? That's a very good question. So the next step is basically, if you have any questions, you can reach out to me at Cynthia at cynthiagallardo.com. I'm sorry, Cynthia at cynthiagallardo.com. Or you can also reach out to me at Cynthia Gallardo Legacy. That would be my Instagram. Or you can also pick up the phone and call me at 337-517-3977. But book a free strategy call with me today at www.freestrategycallwithcynthia.com. That strategy call will be free. Normally I do charge for it at $297, but today, because you're listening to this particular video, right, this particular message, Lunch and Learn for protecting your legacy, I will be able to offer it to you at no charge. So you can go set up that strategy call with me. I'd love to be able to look at the specifics of your business to identify what you need to protect your legacy. I certainly want to make sure you do protect your legacy. That's a key, something I'm very passionate about. So I do look forward to connecting with you. My team and I will be in touch with you for next steps. Thank you so much for joining today's masterclass, the Protect Your Legacy with the Trademark Masterclass. I look forward to talking to you soon. I will be signing off as Cynthia Gallardo, your favorite legacy lady. Thank you so much for joining today. It has been a true pleasure, and I look forward to helping you protect your legacy. Once again, thank you so much. Cynthia Gallardo, your favorite legacy lady.